Chosen one. Stop scrolling. Heaven has paused the timeline for you. This is not coincidence. This is not just another message. This is divine interruption. You have been pulled here by the hand of heaven itself, because the Spirit has something urgent to speak into your soul. You've felt it, the restlessness in your chest, the stirring that no distraction can silence. You have been sensing that something is shifting in the unseen, and you are right. Heaven is serious in this hour. The time for casual faith is over. The call over your life is not entertainment, it is assignment. You have walked through battles no one saw. The ones who mocked you didn't know that you were carrying something holy. You've cried in secret, yet heaven collected every tear. You've been misunderstood, overlooked, and rejected. Not because you were forgotten, but because you were being refined. God has been hiding you on purpose. He was not punishing you, He was preparing you. There were moments you asked, "Why me?" and heaven answered, "Because I trust you." You were not meant to fit in. You were meant to disrupt the darkness. You were designed to be different, called to walk a narrow path where few dare to go. You may not feel powerful right now, but what you carry terrifies hell itself. Listen carefully. The atmosphere around you is not ordinary. This moment is holy ground. God is searching the earth for those who will not ignore His voice. You are not scrolling by accident. You are standing at the edge of transformation. Heaven is watching your response. The apostle reminds us in Hebrews chapter 3, verse 15. If you hear His voice today, do not harden your hearts. This is that moment. His voice is calling you now, not tomorrow, not next week, but now. The same voice that spoke light into existence is speaking into your spirit, saying, "Wake up, rise up, and remember who you are." You have been asleep in your spirit, distracted by noise, tempted to settle, but God is shaking you awake. The time for delay is over. The King is calling His chosen ones to step forward, to stand in authority, to walk in obedience. There is no more room for hesitation. The heavens are shifting, and your yes is the key that unlocks the next season. You might think you're unqualified, but that's exactly why you were chosen. God does not choose the perfect, He perfects the chosen. You've been through the fire because heaven was proving your endurance. You've been broken because purpose was being born. Every betrayal, every setback, every silent season has built the strength of a warrior inside you. Chosen one. You are entering a defining moment. Every compromise, every distraction, every doubt must fall away. Heaven's eyes are on you. The angels are watching, waiting for your obedience. This is not about religion, it's about destiny. God is serious. He is not looking for comfort seekers. He is looking for carriers of His glory. The world is loud, but heaven speaks in stillness. Silence the noise. Tune your spirit to His frequency. You will feel a stirring deep inside. You don't resist it. That is the sound of your spirit recognizing home. The same power that raised Christ from the dead is awakening inside of you right now. You are not weak. You are not forgotten. You are chosen. Let this truth sink in. You were chosen before time began. Every failure you thought disqualified you was already factored into your destiny. Mercy rewrote your story before the enemy even had a chance to accuse you. Heaven knew your flaws and still called your name. That is grace. That is love. That is divine selection. Now it is your turn to respond. Heaven has spoken, the choice is yours. Will you obey, or will you delay? This moment will not come again. When God calls, eternity listens for your answer. You were created for this very second in divine history, where the scroll of your destiny begins to unfold. If your spirit is burning right now, don't ignore it. That's confirmation. That's heaven saying, "It's you." Engage with this message not as a viewer, but as a vessel. Like this message, share it so it reaches another chosen one who's been running from their call. Comment the number 77 as a prophetic sign that you hear and receive. And if you haven't already, subscribe, because heaven is not finished speaking to you. The call has gone forth. Heaven pauses, waiting for your response. You are not just scrolling, you are being summoned. The time is now. You were marked by fire long before you understood its meaning. Every season of pain, every battle that burned through your peace, every storm that tested your faith, it was never meant to destroy you. It was meant to reveal what was indestructible within you. Fire does not consume the chosen, it refines them. You have been walking through flames designed to purify your calling, not to punish your soul. You wondered why the pressure never stopped. You prayed for relief, but heaven gave you resistance instead, because pressure makes diamonds, and you were never meant to be ordinary stone. While others escaped the heat, you remained, and in remaining, you were transformed. The very thing that was supposed to break you became the proof that you are built for eternity. There are no wasted battles in your story. Every loss, every disappointment, every closed door has been part of a divine equation. You carry scars that speak in the language of heaven, evidence that you survived what was sent to silence you. You are a walking testimony of endurance. And even when you didn't understand it, God was building strength inside you that the enemy could not counterfeit. The refining fire has a purpose. It separates imitation from authenticity. When you are chosen, you cannot escape the furnace, because the furnace exposes what is real. Many begin the journey, but few endure it. You did. That's why you feel different, because you are. What others call bad luck was actually divine testing. What others saw as loss was the pruning that made space for the new. You've been misunderstood because people see your surface, but heaven sees your substance. They saw your mistakes, but heaven saw your motive. They saw your fall, but heaven saw your fight to rise again. God never measured you by perfection, only by your persistence. And through every trial, you kept moving forward when giving up would have been easier. That is the mark of the chosen. The voice of wisdom echoes in the writings of Zechariah, chapter 13, verse 9. I will bring them through the fire, and refine them as silver is refined, and test them as gold is tested. They will call on my name, and I will answer them. This is not just a verse, it is your life. You have been through the refining, and now heaven prepares to answer. The smoke of your suffering has risen as worship before the throne. You are emerging with purity that cannot be imitated, with a faith that cannot be shaken, and with a heart that has been tested and found true. The fire changed you. It stripped away everything false, burned away every illusion, every dependency, every prideful layer that tried to hide your fragility. You came out raw, but real. You came out empty, but ready. What once defined you, fear, doubt, guilt, has no authority now. You have become a vessel purified by divine flame, a light that darkness cannot extinguish. Do you remember those nights you cried out, wondering if God had forgotten you? Those were the nights when heaven was closest. The silence was not absence, it was strategy. God was teaching you how to hear his whisper in the middle of fire. Because if you can recognize his voice in the heat, you'll never doubt him in the calm. You are not the same person you were before the fire. You think differently. You love differently. You see through deception faster. You discern spirits you once entertained. That is evidence of maturity. Heaven has graduated you in secret while the world wasn't watching. Soon they will see what God has been shaping in private. The fire gave you eyes to see what others overlook. You can now recognize fake peace, false promises, and deceptive comfort. The things that used to attract you no longer move you. That's the sign that your appetite has shifted from flesh to spirit. You are being drawn by something higher: purpose, purity, and presence. Every chosen one must walk through fire because it proves ownership. If the flames could destroy you, you were never his. But if you stand and survive, heaven marks you as its own. And now, you bear that mark visible not to men, but to the spirit realm. Demons recognize it, angels protect it, heaven honors it. So do not curse the fire that formed you. Bless it, for it revealed you. Without it, you would still be carrying the version of yourself that could not hold the weight of destiny. The fire was necessary. The pain was necessary. Because the chosen are not crowned without scars. And every scar you bear now tells the story of divine survival. You remember the darkness, the nights when silence was louder than your heartbeat, when even your prayers felt unanswered. You tried to believe, yet your faith trembled under the weight of waiting. What you didn't see was that heaven was closer in those moments than ever before. The silence was not absence, it was surgery. God was cutting away illusions so you could finally hear him clearly. There are whispers that only come in the dark. They don't strike your ears, they settle into your spirit. In the quiet, you learn that revelation does not always come with thunder. It often comes as a breath that says, "Keep going." The night that tried to swallow you became the place where you discovered your true endurance. The enemy hoped that isolation would make you quit. He wanted your silence to become surrender. But instead, your silence became strength. You started to see differently, to feel the shift between truth and deception. Heaven used loneliness to sharpen your discernment. And though you thought you were forgotten, you were actually being fortified. It is written in the book of Psalms, chapter 27, verse 1. "The Lord is my light and my salvation. Whom shall I fear? The Lord is the strength of my life. Of whom shall I be afraid?" Those words are not poetry. They are reality for those who walk through the valley and still lift their eyes to the hills. The darkness cannot devour what has already been claimed by light. You have learned something precious: survival is sacred. You no longer measure faith by what you feel, but by what you know. You know that when everything fades, his voice remains. That whisper that once called you out of despair is now the same whisper commissioning you to speak. Understand this: the very silence that once imprisoned you is now your weapon. You carry authority that noise can't imitate. You've heard heaven in the stillness. That means hell can no longer manipulate your hearing. You can discern the counterfeit before it even speaks. That's not suspicion, that's spiritual maturity. You were trained in secret for public impact. The nights of confusion taught you how to move with clarity in daylight. That's why storms no longer scare you. You've learned the rhythm of divine stillness. When others panic, you listen. When others rush, you wait. You move with heaven's timing now, not man's approval. The whisper you carry holds deliverance for others. Someone is still trapped in the silence you conquered, and your story will become their rescue line. Every time you speak light, you break the pattern of despair that once held you. Your voice is not just sound, it's strategy. Heaven's code hidden inside human language. Now, as the truth settles in your spirit, heaven waits for your confirmation, not with noise, but with agreement. Type, "I am awake." Those 3 words are not a trend, they are a covenant. They mean you are no longer lulled by distraction or fear. They mean your spirit has opened its eyes again. When you type them, you echo the moment God first said, "Let there be light." You are announcing to both heaven and hell that the light inside you is active, alert, and unshakable. And here is the mystery when you declare, "I am awake." The spiritual realm responds. Angels mark that declaration as alignment. Chains that survived silence begin to snap. Patterns that repeated for years start to crumble. The phrase becomes a key, unlocking the parts of you that grief tried to bury. You're not commenting to be seen. You're commenting to seal. You are writing your awakening into the atmosphere. With those words, you affirm that the season of numbness is over. You will no longer live half alive, half believing, half burning. You are fully here, fully chosen, fully awake. So say it, "I am awake." Let it echo through your being until your bones remember what hope feels like. Let it carry through every room of your soul until fear has no corner left to hide. The same whisper that sustained you through the night now declares your morning has come. You are standing in the dawn of divine awareness, where what was once hidden is revealed. Your voice now vibrates with heaven's rhythm. Every word you speak releases light into realms that once knew only silence. The awakening is not a feeling, it's a posture. You rise not because it's easy, but because you can no longer live asleep. You walk as one who has seen both shadow and glory. Type, "I am awake." Again, not as repetition, but as revelation. When you write it now, you seal it deeper. You confirm that this awakening will not fade when the video ends. It becomes your daily rhythm. The weight of being chosen is not light. You carry something eternal in a temporary world, and sometimes it feels unbearable. You wake up with purpose in your veins, but pain in your chest. You see things others don't, feel what others ignore, and often bear the burden of understanding before the revelation arrives. That's the paradox of the chosen heavenly insight inside a human frame. You were not built for comfort. You were built for calling. Calling costs. It costs your reputation, your relationships, and sometimes your peace. When you said yes to God, even silently, something shifted. Heaven took you seriously, and so did hell. You stopped being invisible in the spirit realm. From that moment, every decision carried eternal weight. That is why the warfare increased. That is why the loneliness deepened. You are not being punished, you are being entrusted. The isolation that surrounds you is evidence of promotion, not rejection. God separates before He elevates. He removes voices that can't understand your frequency, distractions that dilute your power, and comfort zones that would keep you soft when your destiny requires fire. You are being shaped for impact, and every ounce of pressure is part of the molding. The Spirit reminds us through the words of Luke, chapter 12, verse 48. From everyone who has been given much, much will be demanded, and from the one who has been entrusted with much, much more will be asked. This truth burns, but it also blesses. It means God sees you capable of carrying what would crush another. The responsibility that feels heavy is a sign that heaven trusts your shoulders. You've likely noticed how people drift away when your anointing increases. It's not that you've changed, it's that your light exposes what cannot remain hidden. Oil attracts both hunger and jealousy. When you carry divine weight, people respond to you in extremes. Some will honor you, others will misunderstand you, but both are confirmation that what you carry is real. Chosen souls walk alone not because they're unloved, but because they're being prepared to love differently. God is teaching you how to love without attachment, how to give without depletion, how to stand without applause. You're learning that affirmation from heaven is more valuable than recognition from men. That lesson is the core of maturity. When others complain about the fire, you have learned to thank God for it. You no longer measure success by comfort, but by obedience. You understand now that peace is not the absence of battle, it's the presence of God in the middle of it. That's what makes you dangerous to darkness. You don't quit when it hurts. You don't bow when it burns. You hold steady because you know who called you. Sometimes the weight of being chosen will silence you. You'll sit in rooms where you cannot explain the stirring inside you. You'll sense shifts no one else notices. You'll discern warfare others call coincidence. And yet, through it all, you keep your posture, listening more than speaking, waiting more than rushing, trusting more than questioning. That restraint is divine strength disguised as stillness. You are learning that carrying glory requires discipline. You can't feed your spirit with noise and expect clarity. You can't cling to what God has already ended and expect peace. The chosen are not only marked by anointing, they are marked by surrender. Surrender hurts, but it heals deeper than pride ever could. There's a reason you feel different even in familiar places. Heaven has expanded you beyond your old environment. The conversations that once satisfied you now feel shallow. The habits that once distracted you now disturb you. That's because your spirit has outgrown your surroundings. What once entertained you now offends your assignment. You are not broken, you are being stretched. Expansion always feels like breaking before it feels like blessing. What you're carrying requires more space than the old version of you could hold. The pressure you feel is not rejection, it's rebirth. God is increasing your capacity to hold revelation, compassion, and authority at once. So breathe. The weight is not punishment, it's proof. You are trusted with divine responsibility. You are walking a narrow road where few can follow, but you are never alone. Heaven watches every step, strengthening you for what's next. And one day soon, you'll realize that what once felt heavy has become your crown. You will wear that unseen pressure as visible glory. What once bowed your shoulders will soon lift your head, transformed weight, becoming radiant evidence of divine trust fulfilled. And when they ask how you endured, you'll simply smile. Because endurance was never your strength, it was heaven moving through fragile flesh, proving that chosen ones never fall, only rise. Something is shifting inside you. The more you surrender, the more clearly you see that your authority was never about control, it was about trust. Heaven is teaching you how to walk with quiet confidence, to carry power without pride, to lead without shouting. You are learning that true authority flows from humility, not from noise. You've come through storms that others didn't survive. You've stood in the middle of spiritual battles that tried to drain your voice. And yet here you are, stronger, wiser, and softer all at once. That paradox is the mark of divine maturity. You are no longer reacting to the world, you are responding to heaven. You have discovered that obedience is not a burden, it's a rhythm. Authority begins when surrender ends. The world teaches you to fight for control, but heaven invites you to release it. When you release control, miracles find room to land. You stop forcing outcomes and start flowing with divine timing. This is where peace lives, not in perfection, but in partnership. The sacred scrolls record in Matthew, chapter 5, verse 14. You are the light of the world. A city set on a hill cannot be hidden. That's you now, a light that cannot be hidden. Even when you try to stay small, God placed you high, not for fame, but for function. You are meant to guide others through the dark by simply shining where you stand. Sometimes you wonder if your light matters. It does. Every act of faith, every quiet prayer, every moment you refuse to give up, it all becomes a beacon for someone else. You may never know whose night becomes bearable because you kept burning. Heaven keeps record of every spark. And here, in this small corner of time where words meet hearts, that same light connects us. What you receive here, every message, every whisper of truth, is not random content. It's part of a divine conversation between heaven and those who still dare to believe. When you like, share, or subscribe, you are not feeding an algorithm, you are feeding a flame. Each simple action is a spark tossed into the dark, helping this fire reach another cold heart still waiting for warmth. Now, about something even deeper: support. This space is not powered by algorithms, it's sustained by hearts like yours. The messages that pour out here come from prayer, fasting, and hours of quiet listening to heaven's voice. They reach millions, but they begin in stillness, crafted with care and reverence. If you ever feel the warmth of these words, think of giving as gently placing another log on the altar's fire so that the light never fades, the oil never runs dry. It's not a purchase, it's participation. You become a keeper of flame, ensuring the next soul can still find its glow in the dark. Donating isn't demanded, it's a whisper of gratitude turned into motion. You're not paying for light, you're helping it continue to shine. That's how heaven multiplies kindness, one candle lighting another until the world glows again. There's a sacred beauty in giving. It's not about amount, it's about alignment. When you give, you don't lose, you participate. You say to heaven, I want to be part of this light. That act becomes prayer in motion, generosity with wings. It travels farther than you imagine, touching lives you may never meet. Maybe you can't preach, maybe you can't travel the world. But through your kindness, your support becomes a voice that keeps the message alive. You become the unseen hand behind the words that awaken hearts at 2 a.m. The whisper that reaches the broken in silence. So if your spirit feels stirred, like this message, share it with another wanderer. Subscribe to stay near the flame, and if your heart ever feels moved to give, do it with joy, not weight. Giving is never a condition. It's a continuation of love. You are not just a listener, you are a builder of light. Together we make sure the flame never goes out. That's what family and faith truly means, many hearts, one fire. You have become a living lantern, glowing with the memory of every storm you survived. What once tried to drown your light now dances in its reflection. Each ember of faith within you carries another name, another soul waiting for warmth. When you shine, someone else remembers their own forgotten fire. And as heaven watches, the light spreads from heart to heart, a silent wildfire of grace. Until darkness finds no corner left to hide its trembling. You stand now at a turning point. The air around you feels charged, like something unseen has shifted. It's not imagination, it's transition. Heaven has been preparing you for this exact moment, when your obedience becomes the bridge between what was and what will be. You are standing on holy ground disguised as ordinary life. Every choice you make from here carries weight. Destiny is not built in grand gestures, it's shaped in small yeses whispered through trembling lips. The next step matters. Heaven isn't waiting for perfection, heaven is waiting for agreement. When you align your will with His, even the smallest action becomes divine strategy. It is written in the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 30, verse 19. I have set before you life and death, blessings and curses. Now choose life, so that you and your children may live. That's what this moment is, a choice, a crossroads where faith meets obedience. The decision before you isn't about convenience, it's about covenant. God never forces, but He always invites. He gives signs, confirmations, whispers, and pauses in your spirit. You've felt them lately, that uneasy stirring when you try to delay, that peace that fills you when you finally say yes. That's heaven guiding you without shouting. You are not lost. You are being led. The turning point is not an external event, it's an internal awakening. When your heart says yes, heaven begins to rearrange everything around you. Closed doors open, wrong connections fade, divine timing accelerates. You start to see that what you thought were detours were really directions. Every chosen one must face this moment, the point where comfort ends and calling begins. You can't keep one foot in fear and the other in faith. To move forward, you must let go of the familiar. The bridge of destiny appears only when you step off the shore. That's how faith works. It reveals itself in motion. You've hesitated long enough. God isn't angry, He's patient. But patience doesn't mean passivity. There comes a time when heaven stops explaining and simply waits for your response. You've prayed for confirmation, but the truth is you are the confirmation. The fact that your spirit is stirring right now is proof that the moment has come. It's not about what you have, it's about what you're willing to surrender. When you release control, you make room for divine creativity. God doesn't need your perfection. He needs your permission. That's when miracles multiply through willing hearts, not flawless plans. Look back for a moment. Every storm that tried to break you actually prepared you for this step. Every delay protected you. Every rejection redirected you. Heaven wastes nothing. Even your failures have been repurposed into wisdom. You are stronger than you realize, more prepared than you think, and more needed than you know. The shift happening inside you is not emotional, it's eternal. Heaven is realigning your steps with divine precision. You might not see the whole path, but God never asked you to. He only asked you to walk. The light appears one step at a time, like lamps along a midnight road. Each obedient step reveals the next. So now, pause. Feel the weight of this invitation. You are not being pressured. You are being trusted. God doesn't call the qualified, He qualifies the called. And today, heaven calls your name again. Comment the number 444. It's not superstition, it's symbolism. 4 is the rhythm of the earth, the balance of north, south, east, and west. It represents foundation, divine structure, and holy order. When you type 444, you are building your altar of alignment, brick by brick. You're saying to heaven, let my life find its corners again firm, steady, unshaken. Think of 444 as 4 walls rising around your faith, a dwelling where peace lives. The first 4 is for your mind returning to stillness. The second 4 for your heart finding courage again. The third 4 for your spirit standing anchored in truth. Together they form a spiritual home. No storm can collapse. When you write that number, imagine heaven sketching blueprints around your soul, a sacred architecture of obedience and order. Angels take measure of your surrender, marking it as the beginning of new construction in your destiny. You are laying the cornerstone of your next season with faith instead of fear. So type 444 as your silent declaration. I choose divine structure over chaos. I choose to build on rock, not sand. This is your prophetic signature, a number turned into a prayer, a gesture turned into a covenant. And when heaven reads it, heaven moves. You are standing at your turning point. Don't look back. The door behind you has closed with mercy. The door before you opens with purpose. Walk through it lightly, humbly, fearlessly. Because this time you're not walking alone. Heaven's strategy never begins with comfort. It begins with disruption. Before God builds something through you, He dismantles what's around you and sometimes what's inside you. You have felt that shaking lately, relationships fading, desires shifting, plans crumbling that once felt certain. It's not chaos, it's calibration. God is bringing your life into divine order, even if it feels like everything is falling apart. The shaking is not punishment, it's precision. You prayed for purpose, and heaven answered by removing everything that distracted you from it. It's the same way a sculptor works, not by adding, but by carving away what doesn't belong. What's being stripped from you was never part of your eternal design. You see, strategy in heaven doesn't look like strategy on earth. Humans plan forward, but God plans inward. He begins by aligning the heart, not the calendar. That's why he keeps dealing with your character while you keep asking for clarity. He knows that revelation without transformation becomes pride. But when he transforms you first, revelation becomes power wrapped in humility. You've been through a series of divine rearrangements. People who once walked with you have gone silent. Opportunities that looked promising suddenly vanished. It's painful. But look deeper. God is not taking from you. He's protecting what he's placing inside you. Every no that frustrated you was really a not yet spoken in mercy. According to the wisdom found in Proverbs 10, chapter 16, verse 9. A man's heart plans his way, but the Lord directs his steps. Those words remind you that even when you think you've lost your way, heaven has not lost its map. God's strategy is always bigger than your schedule. In every shaking, there's a hidden blueprint. Heaven is positioning you for influence, but influence without integrity is destruction waiting to happen. That's why your waiting season has been so long, because God is building depth before height. The foundation of your spirit must match the weight of your future. Heaven's strategy often looks backward before it moves forward. God takes you through old wounds not to torment you, but to teach you. He reopens the memories that still bleed, not to shame you, but to heal the root that still poisons your peace. The pain you're revisiting is not regression, it's reconstruction. You're being rebuilt from the inside out. You've probably noticed that in this season, silence feels louder and guidance feels scarce. That's intentional. When the teacher is silent, the student is being tested. God trusts what he has already taught you. He's watching to see if you'll apply faith without needing to feel constant reassurance. This is the phase where belief matures into knowing. The strategy of heaven always includes mystery. If you knew everything, you would rely on understanding instead of trust. But trust is heaven's language. It's how you show agreement without explanation. You don't have to see the entire canvas to believe the artist is working. You just have to stay in position while the picture unfolds. You've also begun to sense new instructions forming in your heart, gentle nudges, quiet convictions. Pay attention. That's heaven's whisper guiding you toward your next assignment. Sometimes it doesn't come as a voice. Sometimes it's a restlessness that pushes you to change, to move, to release. Obedience begins when you respond to those subtle signs. And remember this, every divine strategy requires stillness before movement, before battles. Heaven gives blueprints. Before miracles, it gives moments of silence. Don't mistake pause for abandonment. It's preparation. The commander of heaven's armies doesn't rush. He arranges everything perfectly, timing, people, opportunities until all lines align. When the moment comes, it will unfold so effortlessly that you'll realize he had been planning it all along. You are part of that plan. Nothing about your life is accidental. Even the detours have direction. Even the delays hold design. Heaven's strategy is weaving through every thread of your story. Pain, joy, loss, victory, all turning into one tapestry of purpose. So breathe. You are not behind. You are exactly where you're supposed to be, mid-process, mid-blueprint, mid-revelation. The master planner is still holding the pen. The chapters you thought were finished are still being written. and the lines you thought were failures are becoming the foundation of triumph. Heaven's strategy for you is simple but sacred. Trust the map even when you can't trace the path. The detours are divine. The silence is sacred. The shaking is strategy. And when all is said and done, you'll look back and realize that nothing was wasted. Every broken piece was placed with intention. Every unanswered prayer was an invitation to deeper faith. You'll see that the same God who allowed the storm also wrote the strategy that carried you through it. The hidden war around you has never been about what you can see. It has always been a battle for what you carry. Every chosen one walks with invisible light, and light is never left unchallenged. You have wondered why life has felt like constant resistance, why peace seems to vanish just as you find it, why clarity comes and then chaos follows. The answer is simple: your light disrupts darkness. You are a walking contradiction to the plans of hell. From the beginning, the enemy saw what you couldn't. He recognized the mark of divine ownership resting on your life. That mark made you a target, but it also made you untouchable. You've survived things that should have destroyed you, not because you are lucky, but because heaven has been guarding you in ways you'll never fully understand. The war you're in isn't always visible. It's internal, emotional, spiritual. It's the sudden heaviness that falls without warning, the exhaustion that doesn't make sense, the unexpected discouragement after moments of peace. These are not coincidences. They are attacks designed to make you question your purpose. The enemy knows he can't destroy destiny, so he tries to distract it. It is written in the book of Ephesians chapter 6, verse 12. For we do not wrestle against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. That scripture reveals the truth behind your struggle. What you feel is real, but its source is unseen. You're not crazy, and you're not weak. You're under fire because you're dangerous to darkness. You carry an atmosphere that shifts things. When you enter a room, unseen energies react. That's why sometimes you walk into a place and feel tension for no reason. It's not personal, it's spiritual. Darkness senses authority, and authority doesn't need to announce itself. It just stands, and everything around it must adjust. This is why your emotions have been unpredictable lately. It's not that you're unstable, it's that you're sensitive to what others ignore. You're tuned to frequencies that most people are deaf to. Heaven made you that way because awareness is part of your assignment. You can't heal what you don't feel, and you can't discern what you refuse to sense. But be careful, sensitivity without wisdom leads to weariness. You are learning how to discern without absorbing, how to recognize darkness without carrying its weight. This is the art of spiritual warfare, to engage without being entangled. Every warrior must learn that not every battle deserves a sword. Some require silence, others prayer, and some require walking away. You have been fighting longer than you realized, even when you were unaware. Every time you forgave instead of retaliating, you won a battle. Every time you prayed through tears, you struck a blow against despair. Every time you chose peace instead of panic, you advanced the front line of heaven's army. Warfare isn't always loud. Sometimes it looks like endurance. God has been training you through those quiet victories. You thought you were barely surviving, but heaven saw a soldier being forged. The resilience that now lives in you is not accidental. It's the residue of unseen victories. You've been learning strategy through experience, and soon, you'll notice that the same areas that once drained you now bow under your authority. The hidden war will not always rage like this. It has an expiration date. The closer you come to your breakthrough, the louder the resistance grows, because darkness always attacks hardest before it's displaced. The warfare you're facing is not a sign of defeat, it's a sign of territory gained. You're advancing and hell knows it. When fatigue hits, remember that even heaven fights differently. Angels are dispatched by your obedience, not by your panic. Your peace is a weapon, your patience is armor, your worship is warfare. These are not metaphors, they are divine technologies given to the chosen. So lift your head, even when your spirit feels heavy. You're not just enduring, you're enforcing victory that's already been written. The cross wasn't just an event, it was a decree. Every attack against you is already answered by that decree. It is finished. And though the war is invisible, its outcome is not uncertain. You are on the winning side. You always were. The battlefield around you may roar, but heaven within you remains still. That stillness is power. It's proof that the Spirit of God reigns where chaos once lived. Soon, what was hidden will be revealed. The same hands that shielded you in darkness will now display you in light. The war around you will turn into a testimony within you, and what once terrified you will now testify through you. You've reached the place where obedience becomes more than a word, it becomes your weapon. The voice that once whispered direction is now waiting for your response. You've listened, you've learned, but now comes the test. Will you move when heaven speaks? This is the realm where hearing is not enough. Doing is the proof. Obedience has always been the language of faith. It's not about rules or fear, it's about trust. Every time you obey, you declare that God's plan is greater than your comfort. Every time you surrender your logic for His leading, you align with divine strategy. Heaven doesn't reward understanding. Heaven rewards obedience. As recorded in the letter of James chapter 1, verse 22, be doers of the word and not hearers only, deceiving yourselves. Those words cut through complacency. You were never meant to collect revelation like souvenirs. You were meant to walk it out. Every step of obedience writes another line of your destiny. Every yes builds what fear tried to demolish. Sometimes obedience feels lonely. You'll take steps that others don't understand. And that's okay, they weren't called to walk your path. The road of the chosen is often narrow, not because God enjoys isolation, but because purity needs space. Not everyone can go where you're going. And that's not rejection, it's refinement. You've learned that delayed obedience is still disobedience. When heaven gives an instruction, time begins to shift. Every moment you hesitate, momentum slows. But the moment you act, divine acceleration begins. What took years to build in your strength will unfold in days under obedience. There will be moments when you'll feel nothing, no goosebumps, no sign, no confirmation. That's when obedience matters most. Real faith doesn't need proof, it creates it. When you move, even while afraid, you're declaring to all of heaven and hell, I trust the one who called me. The truth is, obedience hurts before it heals. It stretches your faith like fire stretches gold. It exposes your dependency on control, then replaces it with confidence in God. That is why He keeps testing your willingness, not to break you, but to prove that you can carry more glory. The small instructions you're ignoring are often the keys to the doors you've been praying for. God rarely shouts, He whispers. That whisper you keep feeling, the one that says, do it now, or let it go, that's not your thought, that's heaven's cue. When you obey it, one peace follows like shadow follows light. There's a mystery in obedience. When you give up what you think you need, you receive what you were truly missing. When Abraham lifted the knife, heaven revealed the ram. When Peter stepped from the boat, water became pavement. When you move in faith, impossibility becomes irrelevant. Do not underestimate how powerful your yes is. Whole timelines shift when you obey. There are people whose freedom depends on your courage, souls waiting on the other side of your decision. The ripple of your obedience will reach places you'll never see. Because when heaven finds a willing vessel, it multiplies everything that vessel touches. So today, don't just hear respond. When heaven whispers, go, don't negotiate, move. When he says, wait, don't panic, trust. Obedience doesn't always make sense, but it always makes way. Comment, I will move. Those 3 words are a declaration, not a reaction. When you write them, you're not just typing, you're testifying. You're saying, I will not hesitate, I will not delay, I will obey. And heaven takes notice. Angels mark your willingness. The spiritual realm begins to rearrange around that act of agreement. You may not feel it, but something shifts. Fear loses its grip. Confusion dissolves. The path that once seemed hidden begins to glow with quiet light. Your obedience becomes your weapon. Your yes becomes your victory. And your next step becomes the key to the miracle already waiting for you. So say it now. I will move. Let those words be your anthem, your breakthrough, your signature of surrender. And as you write them, heaven writes your next chapter. You see, obedience isn't submission to control, it's alignment with peace. Every time you say, I will move, you silence the storm that once ruled your thoughts. Heaven hears calmness return to creation. Those words carry authority because they come from surrender, not fear. When you declare, I will move, you release heaven's momentum into your reality. Doors unlock, delays dissolve, and courage takes root. Say it again slowly, I will move. You are speaking life into motion, authorizing destiny to proceed. What once held you in hesitation now bows to your declaration. The universe records your faith, and heaven begins to build from your yes. Crowned amidst chaos, that is where you stand now. The world still trembles, but you, the chosen one, rise calm. It's not because the storm has ended, but because your spirit has learned the rhythm of stillness in the storm. Crowns are never given in quiet seasons, they are placed when thunder still rolls. You've been refined by fire, washed by tears, and steadied by faith. What was meant to crush you has become the metal from which your crown was forged. This is not a crown of pride, it's a crown of proof. Proof that endurance works, that grace is real, that love outlasts pain. You wear it invisibly now, but heaven sees it gleam every time you choose peace over panic. That invisible radiance frightens the darkness because it reveals authority clothed in humility. It is written in the 2nd book of Timothy, chapter 4, verse 8. There is laid up for me the crown of righteousness, which the Lord, the righteous judge, shall give me on that day. This promise wasn't just for ancient saints, it's for every soul that keeps standing when surrender seems easier. It's for you. You've carried your cross quietly, but now you carry light. The crown you wear is not decoration, it's identity. Every scar on your spirit has turned into a jewel. Every heartbreak has become a reflection of heaven's patience. The world may still see your wounds, but heaven sees your victory. And in this moment, something sacred happens. Your story begins to shine not just for you, but for others. Somewhere, someone is losing hope, scrolling through endless noise, searching for a reason to believe again. When your testimony reaches them, it becomes a torch passed from one weary traveler to another. That's why this space, this gathering of voices and faith exists. It's more than words on a screen. It's a field of light where broken hearts remember their worth. Every message you hear here is a seed planted in sacred soil. When you listen, share, or speak, You water it with your presence. When you like this message, you're not feeding a number, you're feeding connection. Every click is a small ripple across the waters of despair, helping the sound of hope reach farther. When you share, you become a messenger. You carry flame into rooms that haven't seen light in a long time. There's someone waiting on the other side of your share button, someone who has been praying silently for a sign. When you subscribe, you're not joining a channel. You're joining a current, a stream of faith that flows through digital deserts, turning screens into sanctuaries. You are saying, keep speaking. I'm still listening, and heaven smiles at that partnership. And now, about something even deeper, a gesture of gratitude. Supporting this message is not obligation, it's participation in something living. Imagine this: every offering, every donation is like placing oil in a lamp that never burns out. The words you hear come from hours of prayer, reflection, and the sacred labor of listening to heaven. You're not buying light, you're refilling the lamp that lights thousands. Think of giving as planting a tree whose shade you may never sit under, yet whose roots reach generations ahead. When you sow into this work, your kindness becomes fruit that others will one day eat and call grace. Donating isn't demanded, it's desired by hearts that have been touched. It's like seeing a river that refreshed your thirst and choosing to drop one more stone to guide its course. It's an act of trust, not transaction. You're saying, let this light keep flowing. Let this river reach farther. No gift is too small. The widow's coin, the prophet's oil, the child's lunch all became miracles once placed in divine hands. Giving doesn't reduce you, it reveals you. It shows heaven that your gratitude is alive and active. If these messages have strengthened you, if they've met you in your quiet hours, let your gratitude move freely, like this message. Share it with a friend who's standing on the edge of giving up. Subscribe so the flame can keep finding your heart when you need it most. And if you ever feel stirred to give, do it as worship, not weight. Giving is love translated into motion. You are part of something holy and human at once, a digital sanctuary built from faith, kindness, and unseen hands. This space only breathes because hearts like yours keep it alive. And as you sit here, crown upon your soul, light in your eyes. Remember this: you were never meant to carry your fire alone. Together, we build this altar of words and worship. Together, we keep the lamps burning. Together, we remind the world that even in chaos, crowns still gleam. Every wound you've carried has been whispering to heaven. What you thought was pain was actually preparation. What you thought was breaking was the beginning of building. You are being forged for impact. There is no wasted suffering in the hands of God. Every scar has purpose, every tear has assignment. What once hurt you now holds healing for others. You've started to see glimpses of it, the quiet strength that rises when old pain tries to speak again. That's the fruit of endurance. You have learned to turn agony into understanding and grief into wisdom. The things that once silenced you now fuel your message. You no longer hide your scars. You hold them up as proof that redemption is real. When you walk through fire and survive, you carry the scent of survival. People feel it when they meet you. They may not know your story, but something about your presence tells them they're safe. That is what true impact looks like. It's not loud or showy, it's steady and sincere. It's the power to enter a room and change the atmosphere without saying a word. The apostle reminds us in Romans chapter 8, verse 28. And we know that in all things God works for the good of those who love him, who have been called according to his purpose. You've lived that verse. It's not just a promise you read, it's a truth you've embodied. The very things meant to harm you became the raw material for your transformation. What the enemy tried to use to bury you, God used to plant you. You were not destroyed, you were rooted. That's why your growth is so strong now. Your foundation runs deep beneath the surface, anchored in lessons learned through pain. The deeper the roots, the higher the rise. Your trials taught you how to stand in storms that still knock others down. You've come to understand that power is not the absence of vulnerability, it's the mastery of it. God doesn't use polished vessels, He uses cracked ones because light leaks best through broken places. The world glorifies perfection, but heaven anoints authenticity. The most powerful people are the ones who know what it means to bleed and still bless. There's something sacred about those who can smile after seasons of sorrow. It's not denial, it's divine resilience. You've learned that joy is not laughter, it's endurance disguised as peace. It's the quiet realization that even when everything shifts, God remains. That awareness has become your armor. Every wound has a voice. The question is, who gets to speak through it, your pain or your purpose? For a long time, pain was louder. It dictated your mood, your choices, your hope. But then something changed. Somewhere between the tears and the prayers, your spirit began to rewrite the narrative. You stopped asking, "Why me?" and started declaring, "Use me." That was the turning point, and heaven heard it. That shift in your spirit echoed louder than any sermon. God saw that your wounds were no longer wounds, they were wells. Out of them would flow compassion, clarity, and courage for others. You became an instrument of empathy, tuned by suffering and played by grace. You are living proof that broken things still sing beautifully. Every scar on your heart has become a string in the melody of mercy. When you speak now, heaven harmonizes with your words. That's why people weep when you tell your story. It's not just you talking, it's God speaking through healed pain. Your impact will not come from the perfection of your life, but from the honesty of your journey. The world doesn't need more polished performances, it needs raw testimonies. You are not here to impress, you are here to impart. Every breath you take now carries a message: I survived, and so will you. Do not underestimate the reach of your restoration. Somewhere, someone will encounter your words and find courage to live again. Somewhere, a heart that was ready to quit will remember that pain can be a teacher, not a tomb. That's the quiet miracle your healing becomes their hope. You've been forged for impact, not just to shine, but to serve. The same hands that shaped your scars are now shaping your influence. Heaven doesn't waste anything, and neither should you. Every wound has value when you place it back in God's hands. And when you finally realize that, you'll understand the power of redemption, that the fire never wins. The ashes never define you, and the broken pieces once surrendered build altars of glory. There comes a sacred moment when heaven releases what has been prepared in silence. You have reached that moment, the mantle descends. For years, you've been trained quietly, disciplined by delays, purified through trials. Now, what was hidden begins to rest visibly upon you. You will not need to chase recognition. The anointing itself will speak. A mantle is not a garment of comfort, it's a weight of glory. It demands maturity, humility, and discernment. You've carried pain, now you will carry power. But remember, power without surrender becomes corruption. God didn't raise you just to shine, He raised you to serve. You are being entrusted with influence, not ownership. This mantle is not about you, it's about others who will be freed through your obedience. The prophet Isaiah once proclaimed in chapter 61, verse 1, "The Spirit of the Lord God is upon me, because the Lord has anointed me to proclaim good news to the poor. He has sent me to bind up the brokenhearted." That verse is not ancient poetry, it's your present reality. The same spirit that moved through prophets now rests upon you, not because of perfection, but because of willingness. You said yes when others said no, and heaven remembers every yes. When the mantle falls, the atmosphere changes. You'll notice new sensitivity, your spirit will discern faster, your words will carry more weight, and your prayers will shake what they once merely touched. You won't need to announce your elevation, even silence will begin to speak on your behalf. But be cautious, new authority attracts both angels and adversaries. When light increases, shadows stretch too. That's why you must remain anchored in prayer and purity. Don't let attention distract you from assignment. The same humility that qualified you must now sustain you. The mantle is not a trophy, it's a tool. God will begin to draw people to you, souls searching for hope, healing, and guidance. Some will come broken, others curious, and a few hostile. Don't be discouraged. Every reaction is proof that the oil on your life is real. Light draws both seekers and moths. Your role is to keep burning, not to judge who approaches the flame. The descent of a mantle always marks the dawn of a mission. Heaven has waited for this alignment, for your heart to be soft enough, your faith to be firm enough, and your obedience to be quick enough. Now the mantle settles, fitting perfectly on the shoulders that once bent under burden. The same places that once ached from weight will now carry wonder. You may feel unworthy enough, but remember, no one is ever ready for glory. They are simply available. The mantle doesn't choose the mighty, it chooses the meek. And yet, once it rests, it transforms the meek into instruments of divine movement. Today, heaven extends that invitation, not through loud thunder, but through quiet recognition in your spirit. You know it, you feel the stirring, the warmth, the trembling within your chest. That's the sign. The mantle is near. Comment the number 545. This number carries prophetic weight. 5 is the symbol of grace multiplied 3 times. It represents overflowing grace, divine favor in motion, and triple completion. When you type 555, you're not repeating digits, you're releasing declaration. You're saying, grace covers me, grace flows through me, grace leads me. Imagine 505 as 3 waves crashing against the shore of your destiny. The first wave washes away your past guilt. The second restores your courage. The third carries you forward into your calling. Each ripple spreads farther than you can see, touching lives connected to your obedience. Typing 555 is not ritual, it's recognition. It's your way of saying, I receive the mantle not with pride, but with peace. I carry grace, not pressure. When you release that number, heaven records your yes in the language of symbols. It becomes a seal, an invisible signature between you and God. And as the mantle descends, everything around you will begin to align: opportunities, relationships, timing, and resources. Grace will guide each step. The same spirit that anointed you will now sustain you. You have carried pain long enough. Now carry purpose. Let the mantle rest. Let grace lead. Let heaven move through you. The waiting season has ended. The working season begins. When you type 555, you're not following a pattern, you're speaking heaven's language. Each digit carries rhythm. Together, they form a melody only grace can sing through surrendered hearts. That number whispers, I accept my mantle with humility. It marks your transition from waiting to walking, from receiving to releasing. Grace becomes motion, not memory. So, write 555 now, not as habit, but as harmony. Let your comment be worship, your act be agreement, your number be the sound of grace echoing across eternity. Separation always comes before elevation. It is one of heaven's hardest mercies when God begins to remove what can't rise with you. It feels like loss, but it's actually alignment. Every chosen one must walk through this pruning because destiny demands clarity and clutter clouds calling. You've felt it, the quiet distance forming between you and certain people, the sudden discomfort in places that once felt familiar. At first you questioned yourself, did I change? Did I do something wrong? But now you understand, growth always feels like grief at first. God is not punishing you. He's protecting you from what cannot handle your next level. As written in the Gospel of John, chapter 15, verse 2, "Every branch in me that does not bear fruit he takes away, and every branch that bears fruit he prunes that it may bear more fruit." This is that pruning. Heaven doesn't cut to harm, it cuts to multiply. Each snip is surgical, deliberate, compassionate. The divine gardener knows exactly which branches need trimming so the life within you can flow freely again. Some connections were seasonal, not eternal. Some conversations began as comfort but ended as distraction. And some doors didn't close because of failure, they closed because of fulfillment. What was meant to teach you has completed its purpose. When God says enough, it's not rejection, it's redirection. The truth is, separation hurts because it reveals what we've tied our identity to. Sometimes we cling to the familiar simply because it's known, not because it's healthy. God, in His mercy, begins to peel our fingers away from what's been quietly draining us. It feels cruel in the moment, but later you'll thank Him for the freedom. You are not meant to carry everyone into your next season. The weight of destiny requires room. Some people loved you for who you were, but they're not prepared for who you're becoming. When you try to take them with you, the load becomes unbearable. That's why heaven separates before it elevates. Every ending has echo. You'll feel it when memories surface, when songs remind you of old chapters, when your heart misses what your spirit has outgrown. Don't mistake nostalgia for instruction. Missing something doesn't mean you should return to it. Healing doesn't mean reattachment, it means release. You've probably noticed how silence has increased around you lately. Messages unanswered, circles smaller, voices fewer. That's not loneliness, it's focus. God is tuning the volume of your life so you can finally hear His frequency clearly. When there's too much noise, revelation gets lost. That's why He removes the unnecessary sounds before He delivers strategy. In separation, there's sanctification. God purifies you not by isolating you from the world, but by isolating your motives within it. You begin to see who you are without external validation, without applause, without approval. It's in those quiet spaces that true identity forms. The pruning also exposes dependencies you didn't realize you had. You'll see how often you leaned on others for confidence, for affirmation, for direction. Now, as those voices fade, you'll find yourself listening to the one voice that never leaves. That's how heaven creates intimacy, by removing intermediaries until it's just you and Him. Do not resent the silence, it's sacred. In the absence of company, presence becomes clearer. You'll begin to sense angels around you. Feel the peace of God resting over you. Notice the wisdom rising within you. The world calls it isolation. Heaven calls it incubation. Every great birth begins with separation. Seeds must be buried before they bloom. Caterpillars must leave the branch to become butterflies. Even Christ withdrew to lonely places before every miracle. You're not being hidden because you're forgotten, you're being hidden because you're being formed. When the time comes, God will reintroduce you not as who you were, but as who you've become. Those who left won't even recognize you, and that's okay. They were meant to be part of your foundation, not your future. So, Let the pruning continue. Let the cutting clarify. Let the quiet refine. Soon you'll see that everything that left made room for everything that's arriving. The pain of separation is temporary, but the fruit of elevation is eternal. And one day, when you look back, you'll realize that the very things that walked away were the winds that helped you rise. You were never meant to beg for belonging. What left you only revealed what was never rooted. The pruning wasn't rejection, it was revelation. Proof that your soil was too rich for shallow roots. Now rise lighter. What's gone has given you wings. You've lost nothing essential, only weight that once disguised itself as love. Focus is a battlefield, not the kind fought with weapons but with thoughts. The enemy doesn't need to destroy your life if he can distract your mind. He knows that if your attention drifts, your anointing dulls. The battle for destiny always begins in the arena of attention. You are learning that protecting your focus is protecting your future. Distraction rarely looks dangerous. It often arrives disguised as opportunity. It comes wrapped in busyness, relationships, or responsibilities that seem harmless at first but quietly drain your energy. The enemy studies your patterns. He won't tempt you with obvious sin but with subtle compromise. He'll make you chase things that look like purpose but lead to exhaustion. According to the wisdom found in Proverbs, chapter 4, verse 25, let your eyes look straight ahead. Fix your gaze directly before you. That verse is not about sight, it's about direction. Where your gaze goes, your spirit follows. God gave you vision, but vision without focus becomes confusion. 1,000 open doors mean nothing if they all lead you away from your assignment. You have learned that not everything good is God, and not every invitation is instruction. Some paths glow but do not grow you. They glitter, but they lack grace. The chosen must learn the discipline of no. Heaven often hides strength in simplicity, the ability to stay still when the world screams run. Your greatest weapon in this season is clarity. Clarity is not noise, it's silence that knows. It's the stillness that whispers. This is where I belong, and I will not move. Every time you choose focus, you build spiritual muscle. Every time you resist distraction, you sharpen discernment. You've likely noticed how distractions multiply when you're close to breakthrough. The moment heaven prepares to shift something, the atmosphere fills with imitation. Old habits resurface. Familiar people reappear. Forgotten temptations knock again. It's not coincidence, it's strategy. Darkness knows it can't steal your blessing, so it tries to scatter your attention until you lose sight of it. Focus doesn't mean doing more, it means seeing clearer. Sometimes you focus by saying less, moving slower, praying longer. It's not about productivity, it's about proximity. You draw near to what you behold. That's why heaven keeps whispering, "Look at me." Not because God needs attention, but because you do. Every time you turn your gaze back to Him, chaos loses its claim. Distraction feeds on emotion. It thrives when you're tired, hungry, or lonely. That's why spiritual discipline begins with awareness. When you notice the drift, stop and breathe. Ask yourself, is this pulling me closer to peace or pushing me away from it? Peace is your compass. Anything that disturbs it is not from heaven. There's also the distraction of comparison. You see others running ahead and wonder if you're behind. But you're not late. You're tailored. God writes custom timelines. The moment you start measuring your pace by someone else's, you disconnect from your own assignment. What's meant for them may not fit your capacity. Stay faithful in your lane. Comparison only causes collision. Focus requires pruning of thought as much as pruning of people. You cannot meditate on chaos and expect clarity. You cannot keep feeding doubt and expect faith to grow. Guard your inner conversation. The mind is a garden, whatever you water will rise. Stop watering worry. Start tending truth. You've been given spiritual sight. Use it. See beyond the noise. When distractions come, don't fight them with frustration. Starve them with inattention. Energy flows where focus goes. When you withhold your attention, temptation withers. The battle for focus is holy warfare because it determines what throne your thoughts will worship. Will they bow to fear or to faith, to noise or to knowledge each time you choose stillness? Heaven expands inside you. So, slow down. Take inventory. Ask God to sharpen your sight again. Let your mind become sanctuary, not battlefield. Focus isn't about tightening control, it's about releasing clutter. The clearer you see Him, the lighter everything else becomes. Stay centered. Stay calm. Stay clear, because the moment your eyes lock on heaven, the storm around you loses its right to exist. Focus is worship in motion. Every moment you choose stillness, you're telling heaven, you have my gaze. That single decision breaks 1,000 invisible chains of distraction. Clarity is not loud, it's luminous. It doesn't argue, it glows quietly, guiding you through fog. Focus becomes your pillar of fire in the wilderness of confusion. And as your eyes stay fixed, everything false begins to fade. The noise softens, the rush slows, and peace rises again. You realize heaven never stopped speaking, you had only stopped listening. Now, every breath becomes prayer, and every heartbeat becomes alignment. There is a hush before every great awakening, the breath between lightning and thunder, between revelation and response. You are standing in that hush now. Heaven has been whispering through every message, shaping your heart, refining your focus, teaching you how to move in rhythm with divine timing. The silence you've endured wasn't empty. It was sacred preparation for the moment you begin to act. But before a warrior rises, heaven always asks one question: will you carry the light forward? Not through effort, but through expression, through the way you live. Speak, give, and share what has been entrusted to you. Because the fire of revelation was never meant to burn in isolation. Fire only fulfills its purpose when it spreads. The words of Jesus in Matthew chapter 5, verse 16. Let your light so shine before men that they may see your good works and glorify your Father in heaven. That's the invitation, not to shine for applause, but to illuminate for others. You have been given flame. Now, you become the lamp. The light inside you is not fragile. It's holy, resilient, ancient. But for the flame to keep burning, the lamp must be tended, oil must be poured, connection must be nurtured. Every like, every word shared, every moment you engage with truth is like another drop of oil keeping the wick alive. When you like these words and think of it not as a click, but as a candle raised in agreement, each small gesture becomes a shimmer in heaven's view, proof that faith still flickers in human hearts. When you share, imagine scattering sparks across the night. Each spark lands somewhere unseen on a soul too tired to pray, a heart too hurt to hope. And in the quiet, those sparks ignite courage again. When you subscribe, you're not joining a list, you're joining a lineage. It's the continuation of voices who refuse to let truth fall silent. You're saying, keep the fire speaking, I'm still listening. And when you comment, think of it as your voice joining the choir of flame. Every word you write becomes an echo that keeps the fire alive. It's not about being seen, it's about adding warmth to the circle. Your comment says, the light reached me, and I'm passing it onward. And if your heart has been warmed by this light, there is one more gentle way to feed the flame. Giving is not transaction, it's participation. Think of it like placing another log on a communal fire. Not because the fire demands it, but because you found warmth here, and you want that warmth to reach another wanderer still lost in cold. There is beauty in that kind of generosity, the quiet, voluntary kind. You're not paying for words, you're preserving wonder, you're saying to heaven, I will not let this lamp go out. Giving is like exhaling gratitude. The breath of those who have been touched becomes wind that carries the message farther. Every gift, large or small, whispers through eternity. I was changed here, and I want others to be too. This is not obligation, it's offering. The difference is love. Obligation weighs, offering lifts. One is duty, the other delight. You give not because you must, but because your spirit overflows and wants to see light linger where shadows still remain. There is a quiet exchange happening whenever you interact here. Heaven flows through pixels and words, through hands unseen, through hearts that meet in faith across distance. It's not technology, it's tapestry. Every act of engagement becomes a thread, weaving connection, compassion, and courage into one living work of art. So as you finish this message, take a breath. Feel what it has stirred in you, the warmth, the conviction, the peace. That's not manipulation, that's movement. That's heaven saying, you are part of this, If you choose to respond, let it be gentle. Like this message if it spoke to you. Share it if you feel it could heal someone else. Subscribe if you want to walk further with this light. Leave your comment as a spark of encouragement. And if your heart ever stirs to give, let it be as effortless as a sigh of gratitude. Because what's being built here isn't an audience, it's an altar. Not of stone, but of souls. And each of us adds something sacred, our attention, our presence, our yes. The fire will keep burning as long as hearts like yours keep believing that words can still heal, that truth can still travel, and that love can still light the dark. There comes a time when heaven stops explaining and starts displaying. You have entered that time. The season of silent shaping is over. Now comes the revealing. This is when you rise, not with noise, but with knowing, when all the invisible victories you fought begin to show their fruit. You are no longer the hidden one. You are the herald, the carrier of light that disturbs darkness simply by existing. You've learned that power doesn't shout. Real authority moves quietly, like dawn creeping over mountains. The light doesn't argue with the night, it just arrives, and the darkness withdraws without debate. That's you now, a divine disruptor, calm yet commanding, chosen to carry heaven's agenda into places that forgot what purity feels like. You've walked through fire long enough to know the heat doesn't define you, it refines you. The ashes that once clung to your spirit have turned into armor. Every scar now glows like a seal of survival, proof that grace carried you through every storm meant to drown you. The world calls you survivor, heaven calls you warrior. The prophet Micah declared long ago in chapter 7, verse 8, "Do not rejoice over me, my enemy. Though I have fallen, I will rise. Though I sit in darkness, the Lord will be my light." Those words are not just ancient defiance, they are your present declaration. You have fallen before, but never stayed down. Each failure became fuel, each setback, a seed. Heaven watched your persistence and crowned your resilience. You will begin to notice how your presence unsettles certain atmospheres. That's because you're no longer carrying just personality, you're carrying presence. Light exposes, truth convicts, and peace disarms. Don't shrink back when resistance rises, it's confirmation that your influence is real. Opposition is often the shadow proof of impact. The time of hiding behind humility is over. There's a difference between humility and hesitation. Humility honors God as the source. Hesitation hides fear behind modesty. God is calling you to stand, to speak, to step into spaces that once intimidated you. Your silence was holy when He asked for stillness, but now your voice is required. Every word you release carries weight now. The same power that healed you will heal through you. The same Spirit that comforted you will now comfort others through your obedience. You've been through enough to carry credibility. Heaven doesn't waste experience. What once embarrassed you will now empower others. This rising will not look like striving. It won't come from hustling harder or proving worth. It will unfold naturally. Like a seed breaking through soil when its time comes. You don't have to announce your elevation. Your fruit will speak louder than any introduction. The right people will recognize you not by your effort, but by your essence. And with this rising comes responsibility. The more light you carry, the more shadows you'll notice. Don't be discouraged by the weight of awareness. It's part of the calling. The chosen are not meant to escape darkness, they are meant to walk through it and reveal what's possible when light remains unshaken. You will learn to command atmospheres not by shouting, but by standing still in peace. When chaos approaches, you won't panic, you'll pause, and heaven will move through your composure. Power doesn't always look like movement. Sometimes it looks like stillness that refuses to be stirred. You are entering a season where your very presence becomes prayer, where every step you take shifts something invisible. You'll find that divine favor follows you naturally, not because you chase it, but because you carry alignment. Heaven trusts you now with influence that cannot be faked or forced. Be mindful. Though this rise is not about elevation above others, but expansion within yourself. God raises you to lift others, not to leave them. You will become a bridge for broken souls, a lighthouse for lost ones, a reminder that surrender doesn't lead to weakness, it leads to radiance. Your rise will look like restoration. Old dreams will awaken, buried passions will breathe again. Places where you felt powerless will become platforms for grace. Every no that once broke your heart will be revealed as divine protection leading to a better yes. So walk forward, shoulders back, spirit open, heart soft. You don't need to announce who you are, heaven already has. Move quietly but confidently, knowing the same God who trained you in shadows now trusts you with light. Rise, warrior of light. This is your moment not to prove, but to embody. Not to perform, but to illuminate. The world has seen enough noise, now it needs presence, and you, chosen one, have become that presence. Heaven has recorded your yes, not the loud one spoken in triumph, but the quiet one whispered through tears, the trembling one said between questions, the weary one offered when faith felt fragile. Every yes you've given, every surrender, every unseen act of obedience has been building something eternal. It's more than a response. It's a record of trust written in heaven's language. God never forgets obedience. Every time you yielded your will to His, the universe shifted slightly closer to divine order. What you thought was small an apology, a prayer, a single moment of forgiveness was monumental in the unseen realm. Heaven doesn't measure size, it measures sincerity. And your sincerity has reached the throne. There's something sacred about the ones who keep saying yes even when no one claps. You've been that soul. You've walked through loneliness, misunderstanding, and delay. Yet you never stopped agreeing with heaven's call. That endurance has become your signature, a covenant written not in ink, but in resilience. Heaven's record testifies in Revelation, chapter 3, verse 8. I know your deeds. See, I have placed before you an open door that no one can shut. I know that you have little strength, yet you have kept my word and have not denied my name. This is heaven's response to your perseverance. You didn't quit when others would have. You held faith even when the door stayed shut. And now the door opens not because of effort, but because of endurance. Heaven is honoring the strength it took for you to remain gentle in a hard world, to stay pure when compromise looked easier, to keep believing when silence stretched too long. You are not being rewarded for perfection, but for persistence. God has seen every hidden battle, every midnight prayer, every morning you rose despite the weight pressing down. Your yes has become foundation. Upon it, heaven will build new things, ministries, movements, miracles. Not all will bear your name, but all will carry your imprint. Your obedience has become inheritance for others. Somewhere, someone's future will flourish because you decided not to faint. You may not see the full picture now, but eternity already celebrates your faith. Angels have documented your growth. Heaven has archived your resilience. The same voice that once whispered direction now declares delight. Well done, not because the journey is flawless, but because the faith is real. This is not the end of your story, it's the beginning of impact. Every chosen one reaches this crossroad where personal transformation turns into collective influence. You are crossing that line now. What was once private will soon become public testimony. What once tested you will soon teach others. Be ready for divine appointments, moments where heaven uses your words, your scars, your laughter, even your silence to heal someone else. Impact won't always feel dramatic. Sometimes it will look like a conversation, a kindness, a prayer sent at the right time. Your life has become a message, and God is now amplifying it through your authenticity. But remember, the same humility that carried you here must continue to carry you higher. Stay grounded in gratitude, anchored in peace, hidden in prayer. Don't let visibility replace intimacy. The stage may widen, but your altar must deepen. You are not a performer, you are a vessel. You will begin to notice how favor follows you effortlessly. Doors that were once locked will swing open as if they recognize you. That's what happens when heaven endorses someone, the earth responds. But the greatest reward is not opportunity, it's intimacy. The more you rise, the closer you stay. Your yes will echo for generations. The ripple of one surrendered life can alter destinies far beyond its lifetime. That's why heaven treasures obedience, it multiplies eternally. You said yes for yourself, but it will bless many you'll never meet. So rest now in the peace that comes after obedience. You don't have to strive for significance, it's already sealed. You don't have to prove that you're chosen, heaven has already recorded it. You have fought the good fight, not with force, but with faith. You've finished this chapter, not in exhaustion, but in glory. Your name may never trend on earth, but it's engraved in heaven's book, and that's the only recognition that will ever matter. When eternity echoes your story, it won't recount your mistakes or your waiting, it will repeat one phrase. They said yes, and that yes will keep echoing, lighting paths for those who come after, until every chosen one learns what you have now learned. Obedience is the sound that moves heaven. And now, chosen one, the words fall silent, but their echo remains. What began as a whisper has become a current moving through your spirit. You've walked the full circle from calling to crown, from ashes to light, and now, heaven simply watches as you carry that flame forward. This isn't the end, it's the continuation of a divine dialogue. The story still unfolds in your daily choices, in the quiet ways you bring warmth to a cold world. When you like this message, think of it as pressing your fingerprint on the glass of eternity, saying, I was here, I received, I remembered. When you share, Imagine releasing a lantern into the night. It floats beyond your reach, but someone else will see its glow and find their direction again. You become part of their miracle simply by letting your light travel farther. When you comment, you're not just writing words, you're adding another heartbeat to this sanctuary. Every response becomes a soft echo of community, a chorus of faith rising from scattered souls. When you subscribe, think of it as keeping the lamp close. It's your way of staying connected to the rhythm of revelation, ensuring that the next word finds you when you need it most. And if you've felt healing here, if these words have steadied your heart or reignited your faith, consider giving not as a transaction, but as tending the flame. You're placing oil into the lamp so that it can continue burning for others who have yet to find the light. There's no pressure here, only presence. The door remains open, the fire still glows, and your heart is part of its warmth now. This is how heaven builds family, many flames. One fire,